Shalom uvracha, dear congregational family and friends and community. Rabbi Cantor, Steve Texon, greeting you as we approach the new year 2021 and say goodbye to 2020. A very painful year, a very challenging year. It has brought great suffering to the entire planet. We've all been affected by it and we've all reacted in individual ways. But yet we have been united in a common cause to defeat this horrible plague. And we've done it in record time as far as producing a vaccine to begin to eradicate this horrible disease. We come to the conclusion of the book of Genesis, and we see a reconciliation and a reunification and the emergence out of the darkness into the light. The stories of Jacob and his son Joseph, similar lives, dramatic, overcoming obstacles, persevering failure and deception, and you name it. But ultimately, in this week's portion, Vayechi, as we close the book, Vayechi, he lived. Even though it's a portion that describes the death of both Jacob and Joseph, it is called Vayechi because their spirit, the triumph of their spirit, like the triumph of the light of Hanukkah, is what made us endure throughout the centuries for 5,000 years, almost 6,000 years. So the unification took place, and in the second half of this video, I talk about Jacob and Joseph, their relationship, and the final blessing to all the children, all the sons. And I will mention the great accomplishments of our congregation, Temple Beth Shmuel, even during 2020, the lockdown, and what we have done to keep Judaism alive and to keep our historic synagogue alive and well into the future. And so, dear friends, Joseph not attempting to contact his father all those years was a demonstration of his chassidut, of his righteousness, of being the tzaddik he was, not to cause pain to the father and have his father curse his brothers, curse his own flesh and blood for what they did to him. Because our sages asked, why didn't he contact? Why didn't he write home? And even as I said, when he came back down to Egypt, put him in the royal palace, have him close to you. No, he didn't want to engage in a discussion where he might reveal the truth. This was the greatest demonstration of kindness that Joseph had. So he blesses all the sons, they're reunited, and finally Jacob asks the Almighty for an opportunity to see Mashiach on his deathbed. It's denied to him, but he does have a glimpse of it, and he reveals some of it in the blessing of the sons, particularly Yehuda, who was the great leader. They looked to Yehuda as the foreman, as the spokesman. He was the most noble, along with Joseph. And there are intimations that through the blessing of Yehuda that Jacob was aware of what really happened, but that Judah caused the salvation. And by his sacrifice, to put himself, of course, in place of Benjamin, we all know, he demonstrated the greatest moral character. So Jacob passes, there is a reconciliation, and when he recites the Shema Yisrael, after blessing the children, all the children respond with the Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Li'olam Va'ed, the complementary verse to the Shema. And he was able to pass on to Olam Haba, knowing that Judaism would continue and survive, and the kingship would continue through Yehuda, through King David and the dynasty, and Mashiach will come. The hope never died. Here in our beautiful congregation, Temple Beth Shmuel, the hope never dies, and we've accomplished so much in 2020 in spite of the pandemic. And such praise I want to give to our president, Rachel Duberman, our executive vice president, Becky Kabrowski-Cohn, and the whole board for sticking together, united. In spite of our separation physically, we were united spiritually, and we have still met for Shabbat services and certain very important events, Thanksgiving. We had a beautiful Shabbat, and we are now planning for 2021. But just to mention what we have done in 2020, we've remodeled the ballroom, we've repaired the building structure, and we have made plans even this coming month of January for some beautiful events at the end of the month of January. We've moved forward from darkness into light, and we'll have our cultural events and our special events, and we are a historic congregation continuing in the heart of South Beach as a beacon of light to the whole Jewish community and the community at large. Let us go forward with hope, as Jacob did, in spite of all odds, as Joseph did, in spite of all odds, and we will be reconciled and united, marching into the new year with good health and strong faith and a cheerful heart. Amen, and God bless you all.